Yeah, I remember this corner here, I was walking with some friends, and there was a cop car that was turning the corner right here, and one of my friends actually took a brick and threw it at the window of the cop car. Yeah, and we all just, we ran. I mean, we were running for our lives. Going to school in the morning time, sometimes you would have to actually take some of the back roads because of some of the activities of the youth in the community. You didn't want to get beat up, so you had to figure out routes to get to school that were more appropriate for you and safer. I was in the 7th grade when things started to go sour. I had cut class so much, I didn't know where my locker was. I didn't remember the combination. I didn't even know who my teachers were at one point. We moved to Minoka Avenue. We walked the neighborhood. My cousin was staying with me at the time, and we wanted to, just to see who was in the neighborhood, new people. And they were into things that were far beyond what I ever dreamed of getting involved in. Some of them were actually at that age using drugs. They were stealing. Some of them were in some criminal activity. My cousin and I, we were hanging around them. And they said, hey, let's go to the store, let's get something to eat. I said, okay. I didn't even have any money, but I was just following the crowd. Maybe someone will loan me $1. And we went into a supermarket, and they started stealing. And I'm like, my cousin and I looking at each other, and I said, you guys stole. And they said, yeah, we do it every week. Every week. You can do it? And I said, no, I don't want to do that. But guess what? That next week I did. I'm looking around, I'm thinking my mom would kill me if she found out what I did. And then I had a few dollars in my pocket. And on the 3rd week, I had a choice. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I will never do this again. And I remember on that the following week, a few of the friends that I was hanging around got locked up for stealing.
The statistics show that growing up in West Baltimore would likely lead to a life riddled with run-ins with the law, drug abuse, and even gang activity. Early on, Montez wanted a way out, but opportunity is not a luxury afforded to most on the stagnant streets that Montez called home.
My mom wanted the best for us, but she didn't have the awareness and the knowledge of where we needed to go and what we needed to do. She just wanted the best for us. And it was a citywide school. You have to apply for it. You have to have a certain grade average. And I just jumped on the bandwagon. And I said, I want to go to that school. I want to go for business administration. They had an open house, and my mom went up to the open house with me. And just imagine there's a scary movie you're watching, and there's this dark hallway. And you're saying to yourself, don't go near that hallway. But your curiosity overwhelms you, and you say, yes, I need to go down that hallway. So I went near the hallway. And this old, wrinkled white guy just jumped out of the darkness and grabbed me by my shoulders and said, I'm looking for a few good black guys for this train. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
That's right. Yeah. He grabbed horse. Come here, son. Let me show you what we have down here. I think I scared him more than anything.
We went to the school, talked to the counselor, and she said, well, we just cannot get you into the business administration program. Is there another program that you could think of? Who do you think I thought about? I thought about Mr. Weber.
I would explain to him what we have and what kind of money you can make and what demand they had out there in industry for machinists. And there was a high demand for them. And our kids on work study, if I can remember, they were, back then they were making pretty good money to start out, somewhere around $10 an hour, not minimum, but they were giving them pretty good money to start.
Mr. Weber presented to Montez an opportunity to get real-world skills during high school through the work-study program. But to get to and from the various places he would be trained, Montez would need to buy a car, which seemed out of reach. But Montez's father, through his own personal struggles, realized how important it was that Montez seize this opportunity. And so Joseph King helped Montez scrape the $400 together that he would need to buy his first car.
Mr. Weber kept his commitment and put me on work study. I remember driving there and on my first day on the job, and there were no black people. I think out of 400 employees, there maybe 3, maybe. And I had a high top fade. That scared a lot of folks. When we walked down the hall, they would actually move to the other side. I remember that vividly. But the perception that they had on me, it was stained in their hearts, where their attitudes were rude, disrespectful. You have to be equipped to deal with that. And I was thinking, if I didn't have my mom teaching me to respect my elders, regardless of their right or wrong, I could have definitely responded in a way that I could have been fired or just given up. But I was able to take it, and I did. And eventually I started winning them over. But they would say, come on over here, Monty, let me show you something. Let me show you what I'm doing. We had dialogue and we could talk and communicate. And I told them about my lifestyle, and at the same time, I got to learn about theirs. And that's where I discovered purchasing a home. And it, even though some people didn't like me for no reason at all, I learned a lot from them. So I learned to get a sample of their life and purchase a home at 18 years old. 18 years old, coming from my neighborhood. And I put a contract in on a brand new house at 18.
He became a plant manager. And to do that, you have to have some kind of qualities to show somebody else what to do. Back then, hey, a black kid being a plant manager, come on. You got a lot of tough things that you have to face.
Montez was beating the statistics. In fact, he went on to sell and build another home that was bigger and better. The cars he was driving got nicer as well. But Mr. Weber once again changed Montez's life when he asked him to take a huge gamble.
Mr. Weber told me one day that, hey, you would make a great teacher. And a few years later, he called me again. He said, you really need to get into teaching. You need to get to this place in Baltimore, Magna Baltimore Technical Training Center. And I said, where I used to live, on Park Heights? No, I'm not going back there.
Mr. Weber had helped prepare Montez for his career in machining, but this nudge would prove to be much bigger than a career change. Montez had come from the streets of West Baltimore, and though reluctant to go back, Montez wanted to help others realize that they too could rise out of their circumstances.
He has a passion. He grew up in this neighborhood. He wanted to make a difference. And just based on his personality, he didn't even have to try. He made a difference in people's lives. It's like they were drawn to him because of his passion, because of his need to help. because of his patience and wanting to listen and wanting to help them. We had young men coming into the program that had never worked, who had spotty work histories, who had criminal backgrounds, and they left here with career skills, making $15, $20, $25, and $30 an hour.
Montez spent years mentoring and helping others realize that opportunity was within their grasp if they would only reach for it using the skills that he was teaching them. Today, Montez continues to give back, but the difference is, now it's on an international stage as he leads the team at the NIMS organization.
I continue to teach, and now I'm here as the Executive Director at NIMS, and we work with schools across the nation. We work with industry, and we develop industry standards in metalworking, manufacturing. We develop credentials. And so I get to visit all of these schools that are having some of the same concerns, issues that I had in my career. And I can share that knowledge with those instructors. And it's a really good life. So I grew up in an underserved community of Baltimore City, and illegal drug activity was very common in my community. And most of my friends had some level of interaction with drugs. It was either using or selling. I worked 25 years in the trade, and I moved into management positions, and I've seen the diversity increase slightly, but I still find myself, and people like me, the minorities, as a dash of pepper on a baked potato. It's still, there's still a gap there. And the machining trade was a huge change in my life. There are many people like me that could use an opportunity that was presented to me, and I think it just needs to be visible. And again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and have me here to tell my story.
It was clear to me as we talked together. It's how Montez handled the cards that he had been dealt that's defining his future. He is loving where others may choose hate. He chooses to work hard when others choose a handout. He pushes on when others give up. Montez carved a pathway that anyone can follow. His life is marked by his willingness to take the good and leave the bad. The life of Montez King should tug at each of us. The life of Montez King has left me asking, how will I choose to live my life?
Hi everyone, thanks so much for watching my film. It's been an honor to share part of my story with you. You know, I'm just an inner city kid from Baltimore, and who knew this could be my life, right? But the greatest achievement in my career was completing my apprenticeship program. It exposed me to real life experience, college courses, and making really good money all at the same time. This was fantastic. So when I thought about my life and my achievements, I decided to train others. So I dedicated part of my career to mentoring others towards apprenticeships. And I keep a portfolio of all of my students. All of my trainees, all of my apprentices are in this book. And I started thinking this morning, what's the difference? What's the difference between successes and failures? And what prevails is decisions. Decisions. So I say to you, empower yourself. Think about your decisions. It can change and guide your life. Thank you so much for watching my film.
Do it like that, come and do it like this, do it like that, do it like this, do it like that, come and do it like this.